restrictions. The place is moving into Tier 4, which includes a stay-at-home order, although you don't recognise that much around. Borders the areas already in the highest tier. At a press briefing, the Health Secretary, Matt Hancock, said that Tier 3 restrictions just weren't enough to contain the faster spreading variant of the virus.
This is not news that anybody wants to deliver, and I am truly sorry for the disruption that it causes. But I think people know how important it is that we take decisions like this to keep people safe and to protect the NHS.
Well, across the country, cases have risen 57% in the past week, and hospital admissions are at their highest level since mid-April. Dr. Bharat, Pankhania, senior clinical lecturer at the University of Exeter Medical School, joins me now. Doctor, a pleasure to talk to you as ever.
Good morning.
Good morning. How effective will these further Tier 4 restrictions be, do you think? Are they enough?
Well, if we have a patchwork quilt of tiers and restrictions, it won't work, as has been clearly demonstrated over several months. And whilst we've got ministers and even health officers and so many other people now all saying the new strain is more infectious, independently of everyone, I say it may be more infectious. The bottom line is you've got to get infected in the first instance. So whatever strain is in circulation, the important bit is your infection prevention measures, rather than saying to yourself, it is the fault of the new strain of the virus.
Do you accept that it's 70% more infectious? There's been a lot of people saying, a lot of scientists particularly saying, we are not convinced, we want to see the numbers. We accept that it's probably more infectious, but 70%, we'd need to see that.
Exactly. Those are, you hit the nail on the head. I have been saying this to myself. Where did you work this one out? Just because it has become the predominant strain, does it necessarily mean that it is also highly infectious and at a 70% plus rate? So yes, I have my concerns, but the bottom line is, for the benefit of our listeners, is nothing has changed. The good thing is that the strain doesn't cause more severe disease. I would love for it to be less disease causing, in which case we can almost say game over. But what our viewers, our listeners must do is don't get infected, don't infect others. That is the key message, and have a low-key Christmas.
We're hearing much said about the vaccine, the Pfizer vaccine, which is being rolled out at the moment. Tony Blair, the former Prime Minister, has suggested that maybe we shouldn't be giving 2 doses, one each 3 weeks apart, but in order to get more people vaccinated, it should just be 1 dose. Where do you stand on that?
No, I very much like the public health measure that ex-Prime Minister Tony Blair has suggested. That is in the middle of a crisis, we mustn't shut our eyes, ears, and go blinkered into one process and one process only. We must think beyond the box. So it's a good idea. We need to consider it rather than reject it, because he makes a lot of sense. If you were to immunize a large number of people, and then 21, 28, 35 days later, the second dose arrives, and you can then re-immunize to again boost the immunity. But if you start immunizing a large number of people, you also start protecting a large number of people. So it is an idea very much worth considering.
Because the second injection would be a fail-safe, a boost, like you said, a booster for it. But the first one, they haven't got the data yet to say that the first one does protect as much as having a boost. It does.
It does.
Just on its own, right?
Yes, it's the moment you received it, it starts to protect, and the second dose protects you further.
Right.
But if you're in the crisis, you say to yourself, some protection, if it prevents you from entering hospital and dying, is not a bad strategy. And then I will come and give you dose number 2. And other countries have got similar plans to do exactly that.
A question I have for you as well is I mean, I've been speaking to people like you and virologists, doctors, all sorts of people for months now about this. There seems to be some kind of surprise that this virus is mutating, but that's what viruses do, isn't it? They mutate.
They do. And as they replicate, they mutate. And in this case, what has probably happened is it has been reproducing in somebody who was probably immune suppressed. In other words, a lot of viral activity goes on in those types of people. And then what happens is a dominant strain emerges as a result of several cycles of reproduction in one person. And that's what's happened.
That's what's happened. So we can expect to see more mutations of this disease, but
Yes.
spreading quickly is its raison d'etre, isn't it? That's what it wants to do. That's a successful virus.
That is exactly right. And one day I hope that we will also hear that it has mutated sufficiently. And oh, by the way, it's now not causing severe disease. And when that happens, we can also say, good on you. Now we can get rid of you, because it becomes the circulating strain, but not severe disease causing. And in which case you say, why worry?
Yeah, like a cold.
Indeed, indeed. And remember, this is part of the common cold family of viruses.
It is, yeah. It's always fascinating to talk to you. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Dr. Bharat Pankhania there, Senior Clinical Lecturer at the University of Exeter Medical School, bringing us up to date with the latest on the virus. You're listening.
Dr.